So, hi there, back with another quick vlog on here today. So, I wanted to discuss a few things about, you know, Somalia and the current, the political climate. So, within the last few years, after the 90s, especially 91, when the country was at civil war, a lot of things changed and it changed for the worse. So, the country's been in turmoil and the people have been traumatized, and basically everything positive has changed to a negative. And what the sad thing is literally seeing the negative sort of rolling on throughout the years. So usually when a war happens or something like big, or significant, it's usually resolved within the same decade, if not the following decade after that. So around, say, 12 years onwards or so, there's usually a sort of a solution and stability somewhat shows. But the country is still, you know, tribal wars, misunderstandings, and just a whole lot of, you know, unstable stuff going on. So I was watching a few people earlier on TikTok, and they were talking about how it's good to return back home, make a difference. That's been a discussion that's ongoing for the past 30 years, of course. And when you keep hearing, like, the youngsters should go back with their diplomas, their degrees, and so forth, it makes you think, like, yeah, I've heard this a million times, but the first step, or the first, approach to making a difference need to actually take place. And that's what's hard in life, and that actually relates to a lot of things. We tend to keep talking about things and we go around in circles without knowing so. But to say it, actually, it's not easy to actually make the first step itself, because when it is, of course, to do with the country and government wise, society, people's, the mindset's changed. We're talking about a country, with more than, I'd say, 20 million people. The census are saying around 15 million or so, but personal opinion is Somali people, yeah, in the worldwide, yeah, isn't no less than 25 million, if not like above 30 million. So the first step itself is, I'd say, trying to, the first thing is the government. As cliche as it sounds, is the government. I was gonna say, society and stuff like that. We first need to get hold of the government, where they need to do a, one man, one vote, and they are actually planning to do that the next term, and that's next year. The way it will change the, society, the mindset, the political climate, and just the country in general is, once they elect a president, the public of their own choice, it's the first time that's actually going to be done, one man, one vote. I don't know about the past, like when they had the independence in 1965 or 60 or something. I'm not sure about those times or before, but definitely this following year, if they do a one man, one vote and are successful with it, it will give the public and the society and the people of Somalia sort of a hope. It will restore hope, because once you actually make the vote yourself and as a collective people, you have a say, even though not like individually you won't be able to have a say, but you'll feel like you've made a difference. And that itself is putting people at a responsible position to make change, and that will affect them mentally positively. So I think that's a good way to start. The actual point is to change the society, the people, the way they think, take them out of the tribal mentality, make them see, you know, the positives, slow changes, you know, like you can just say like schools, hospital, roads, things like that. They are of course making a lot of progress lately within the last few years or so, but as a mass, you know, and just spanning out of Mogadishu, yeah, you know, the whole country needs to actually grow all at once. But no progress, you know, is not good, and they are making some progress at least, you know, given that. And me myself, of course, you know, I'm talking like you know, stepping out the box and, you know, giving my opinion and stuff, but I am of course responsible as well. You know, each Somali person out there is responsible for making a change back home. At times we don't see that. We see it as like, you know, like a movie that we're watching from afar. We're hoping for it to be, you know, a bit better the next season and stuff. But it's all on our shoulders, all of us, you know. If we actually act like individuals, like this won't affect me, this, that. That's my country, that's my people. So I've got to be honest, but I've got to actually start investing either financially or intellectually back home. And I am planning to do that, hopefully. And I'd say hopefully after the next president is elected, and then things would be more aligned, you know. But other than that, so that's something I've been pondering about within the last 24 hours or so. And today has actually been not a too bad day. So as you can see, I'm actually standing for the first time making this vlog. I'm still at the same park, you know, a few feet down the place where I usually film. So we're slowly walking out the bubble, and you're coming with me. But yeah, so that's definitely been on my mind today, making a change back home, and, you know, holding hands as a nation and being able to move forward. So another thing about making a change, you know, a lot of people are actually building things like, you know, gardening stuff, you know, like planting trees. You know, there's actually a new port, you know, in the central region of Somalia. So that's been invested into. You know, small things, even though it's not the big thing like the society or the government, small things like this actually make an effect in the long run. So that on the side, and making deals with the neighboring countries as well is going on the side. You know, Ethiopia, you know, they've had arguments, or shall I say back and forth, you know, political views with Somalia, and the, you know, the independent state that wants to be recognized, Somaliland. So hopefully they will get their recognition as well. So we can't, of course, hold hostages to any state that wants to break free. But at the end of the day, we're still the same people. We're Somali, and we all have the same goal at the end of the day: peace, stability, and a wonderful place to call home. So definitely it will get better, but it will get a bit worse, I believe, before it gets better. And the reason I'm saying that is because any change will shock people, especially when it's out of their norm. And we've got to be ready for that. But at the end of the day, a good change is coming. People are waking up, and the first few steps have been taken within the last few years. The next year coming, better president hopefully, and we'll be able to turn this around. Definitely a dream that we can turn into a reality. So I'll conclude the vlog on here, and I'll catch you on the next vlog. So I might be busy within the next day or two. I'll try and make one tomorrow, either, you know, extending on this topic or another important topic that I want to share with you. I've got work within the next 2 days or so. Actually, got 1 day left or something. And yeah, things might be a bit more tight on my schedule, but I'll definitely take time out on here to speak to you lot and address, important topics that needs to be discussed. So I'll catch you in the next one, and I wish you nothing but the best, and make sure you enjoy yourself. Take care.